Good morning. It is currently 10:45. It says on my clock. I don't know if that's the actual time, but that's what it says. And today I'm just going to be really quickly discussing a little topic because I'm about to go on a date and I don't know when my boyfriend's going to come pick me up. So, let's get right into it. Altar versus no altar. Now, I currently have three altars set up. I'm working on my third one still because it's really messy and gross and I don't like it. But yeah, I have three altars set up, and let me just turn up the brightness really fast. Sorry, I can't with this. Okay, there we go. That's so much better. Okay, so for me, I have three altars. So obviously, in the question, do you need an altar? My answer would be yes. Um, but some people would say no, and that's a valid point because one of my friends, she's still in the broom closet and she doesn't work openly. She doesn't do a lot of spells. She doesn't do a lot of workings necessarily other than just honoring. So instead of an altar, she has a shrine. She does some divination work, which again, I think an altar is better for that. But she just has a shrine. It's a little plant on a windowsill with some rocks, a feather, and a candle, and a bowl of water. And as an offering on the daily, she just waters that plant and she says a little thing, and that's how she honors her deity, and that's how she does her magic, and that's how she does her thing. She doesn't really do a lot of spells, like I said. I do a lot of spells. I do a lot of divination. She does divination, but not a lot. So for me, I feel like an altar is a sacred space where you can covet your energy. It's a place where you can manifest things more with a little more oomph. It's a little more powerful when you do it at an altar because that energy is just constantly going into manifesting something, if that makes any sense. Um, so for me, an altar's purpose is to harness energy and to become alive with your energy. If you notice your altar or your grimoire or whatever you have will start to gain a personality as you work with it more often. Same with tarot cards if they already have a personality, crystals, etc. But yeah, it starts to become its own being because you keep feeding it that power, and the more you feed it that power, the more it's going to feed you power. Does that make any sense? You already have the power in you, but it just amplifies things, I guess. It also just gives you a nicer place to work, just aesthetically, or when I do tarot readings, like say you have a tarot cloth for when you do readings, it's the same with an altar. It feels better and it amplifies the effects when you work at an altar as opposed to not at an altar. I personally believe that you can be casting spells and doing magic whenever you are, wherever you are, with whatever you got, if you have nothing. But I feel it's better when it's in circle and at an altar, just because I feel like that's the magic that takes the most time. It's the magic that you put most of your effort into. It's, in my opinion, just better to have an altar. But you don't have to. You don't. I remember when I was first starting this journey 8 years ago, I read that an altar is not necessary. And to me, that seemed appropriate because at the time I was still in the broom closet for 3 years and I didn't have an altar. I just had a candle and a couple of other things that I would use. But I was like, oh, yes, good. I'm a good witch because I don't need an altar. And you don't need an altar. I personally think it's better to have one, but that doesn't mean you need it. Um, so I'm gonna show y'all some of my altars really fast. You've already seen oh man. Okay, so you've already seen this one. This is my main altar. Um, let's see. Okay, this is my main altar. You've already seen this in my altar tour video. It's changed a little bit, just a little bit. I've gotten a couple more crystals, a couple more herbs, rearranged some stuff. You know, it's a little different. I got a new tarot deck. It's a little different than last time, but it's still the same altar. And then my seasonal one is all decorated for Yule. I'm sorry the camera's so shaky, but I'm really trying to rush this because my boyfriend's coming, and I know in the last video I just talked about not rushing things. Whatever. And then I have this third one, which is my Morrigan altar, and you can't really see it that well. I've got a little cauldron back there. It's really cute. I'm still working on this one. I don't really like how it's turning out. I've got like pine and bones. I have an actual skull. I've got some teeth. Yeah, it's really cute, but it's not there yet. But yes, I have 3 altars. I will explain. You can have no altars, or you can have multiple altars. My main one is the first one that I showed you. That's where I do all of my spell work. It's where I do all my meditation, all my divination. It's where I do everything. I do that all on my main altar. Offerings, etc. My seasonal altar is to honor the seasons and the elements. So I've got a corner for earth, fire, air, and water. That's not how I normally would order it, but I've got corners for the 4 elements. The 5th one I just use a candle for. And where was I going with this? Oh yeah, my seasonal altar is to honor those things, but I don't really do a lot of workings at it. I'll meditate at it sometimes, but I won't really do giant, massive spell work at that altar. And my Morgan altar is going to be, when it's finished, to honor the Morgan specifically. So I'll have offerings there, I'll have just stuff. And there's a dog barking because the mailman's here. So yeah, you can have different altars for different purposes. You can have no altars, you could just have one big altar that you use for everything. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's all up to your own personal needs, your own ability to have an altar, because sometimes you can't. Yeah, but so the idea of a shrine is different from the idea of an altar. The shrine, it would be like just a little um, an idol of something, so whether it be a plant, a statue, whatever that you would associate with a deity or a spirit or whatever you're working with. Um, it's just that, and then maybe an offering. Yes, at a shrine you usually have offerings, you have candles, stuff like that. And you can have that instead of an altar, and you can just do your workings whenever you please at whatever table you want, with whatever materials you have, just whatever. But I feel it's more organized and more amplified to have an altar, and it's a little more personal to have an altar. When you have a shrine, it's personal, but I don't think it develops the same type of personality that an altar gets, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry. I'm kind of all over the place right now. Bear with me. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. If you would like to, I would love to know in the comments down below, and I really mean that. I would love to know if you guys have altars, like how many you have, if you think they're necessary, what you do at your altars. If you feel comfortable sharing that, I would absolutely love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Blessed be. I hope you're all having a fantastic holiday season. Yule is soon. I'm super excited, and blessed Yule to you all. Okay, I'm gonna click end now. Bye.